like Bryn from earlier, but this is not Bryn. Whatever this is, it's made out of cardboard and butcher paper, and it's slung down low, inanimate until the group enters the room. When the beastly Bryn springs to life, its head arches up in a stiff jolt, then cracks itself sideways. The whole of its monstrosity quickly jitters for a moment before regaining control of itself. Its eyes open. Its cardboard maw begins to move.
Oh, hey guys, high five!
The cameraman, only being human, goes for the high five, but Dave the Mage quickly stops him. Holding him back, the beastly Bryn just continues to ask for her high five. Hi, Bryn. We thought you were dead.
No way, I'm fine. Where are we headed? What are we up to? Come over here and talk to me. High five.
What drives you?
High fives. Come over here and give me a high five.
Okay, I will. But let's just stay on this for a moment, shall we? Why, in your own words, do you want a high five?
Because high fives? High fives is what man does.
Why is that? Why are we here, Bryn?
Because life is a series of incomplete moments from which there is no escape. We are growing.
So the maze and you are connected?
No, wait, I'm Bryn. High five.
Obviously, the beastly Bryn has become a problem and they're going to have to deal with her one way or another. So they decide to, once again, split the party. That way everyone has a chance to die. Dave drops off the rope with Gordon, the well-bearded, instructing him to make sure the beastly Bryn doesn't exit the room, while he and Annie take off to find the center of the maze. Back with the beastly Bryn, Harry takes the opportunity to conduct an interview with the monster. To add to his epic poem, he asks Frank the tank for a quick white balance for the camera shot. Frank holds up a blank sheet of white paper in the center of the shot to get a white balance, but the paper pulls back and out of his hands in a snap. As it's sucked into the belly of the beastly Bryn, everyone takes a step back in caution, except for Harry. Visibly shaken but not deterred, Harry takes a step toward the beast. What drives you? He asks her.
High fives.
Meanwhile, Dave and Annie delve deeper into the maze. The tunnel begins to go dark, and for a moment it seems like they drift back into a flashback. They're back in the apartment. Annie is getting ready for work, having her coffee. Dave, sitting across from her. And usually Dave would be having coffee with her, but not this morning. Dave doesn't want coffee. Annie asks if he's going back to bed, and that's when everything starts to go off the rails. Dave's costume shifts to him wearing pajamas for a few frames, then dressed as a hobo. Annie is a princess. Dave is a painter. Dave the painter steals Annie's coffee, consumes it in one gulp. Annie says, "I thought you didn't want coffee." Dave declares he's changed his mind. The scene shifts this time. Still at the dining table. This time there's a candlelit glass of wine, but there's only one glass. Dave asks Annie where her glass is. "I'm not drinking tonight," she says. Pushing the glass towards Dave, their costumes shift again. Dave now in a tux, Annie a wedding gown. They rip them off. They're nothing but tissue paper. Annie continues to push the wine on Dave as she becomes a cardboard librarian. Dave a cardboard clown. Annie now a judge. The room behind them, around them, now all made out of cardboard. The purple glow of the hibiscus begins to shine from the corners of the room, invading. The cardboard cupboards begin flapping, opening and shut. The paper pictures spin out of control. Annie asks what's happening. "I'm changing my mind," Dave says as he blows out the candle on the center of the table. Back with the bee party, comprised of Gordon, Harry, Frank, and the cameraman who I just didn't care enough to give a name to. Beastly Bryn seems to be glitching out badly.
High five!
High five! High five!
But as we watch, we see the pink light of the Plumera growing around Bryn. She's becoming darker. Her beastly side is becoming more present, and less she's asking for high fives. Dave and Annie have managed to pass through whatever curse was binding, and they begin frantically crafting and carving cardboard, determined to finish the heart. As they finish their creation together, Dave bestows upon Annie a sacred relic. An ancient katana, held in his family for 16 weeks or more, discovered the blade at an ancient ruins of an ExxonMobil at Havana and Forth, where it was held by a wise sorceress, Nichelle. He haggled with the sorceress for many moons, and purchased the blade for 16 quid and 40 pence. A hefty sum for the mage, but in hindsight well worth it. He instructs her to make her way through the center. Annie, using all of her strength, pulls the katana from its sheath and using all of her strength, stabs into the maze. Wind gushes, papers begin flying, pushing against her. But it's not about to stop Annie the Paladin. Not here. She stabs onward, cutting, hacking, and stabbing through walls with her sword as the gale force winds become stronger and stronger again. Very unsafe. Super unsafe. Really unsafe to be playing with a katana in this kind of wind. Should not be doing it. And as Annie begins to cut through the maze, beastly Bryn begins to go berserk, the color out of space around her growing brighter. Bryn, now whipping and tearing at her cardboard chains wildly. Gordon, the well-bearded, all the while has been readying the rope. He lassos Bryn the beastly, securing her right as she shears free from one of her cardboard chains. Annie the Paladin is of course on her quest to find the center, and nothing will stop her now. But as she cuts and tears and rips, and is hopefully being super careful not to hurt herself with a gas station katana, the rest of the maze is freaking out. It's contorting and expanding, winds are gusting, and Bryn the Beastly, shaking fiercely, finally just explodes, revealing the hand of the beast underneath. A hand still lassoed by Gordon the Well-Bearded, by the way. The bee party try and hold back the hand, but it's too strong. It pulls underground, pulling the cameraman, who I didn't care enough to give a proper name to, under the ground with it. He holds onto the ledge, struggling to hold on just long enough to ask the proverbial question that everyone was wondering. You f***ed my wife? Before being drawn into the chasm with an explosion of red ribbon paper. The bee party flees the room, following in the path left by Annie and Dave, stumbling into the Minotaur on the way, who follows after. Gordon, ever the brave ranger, distracts the Minotaur, gaining his attention, leading him off course. Dave and Annie, finally at the center of the maze. Annie is all ready to finish the heart so that they can destroy it and stop this madness. But Dave insists that it spin. It has to spin, so they place it upon a record player. And right as they do, the remaining members of the bee party arrive, save of course for the brave and foolish Gordon. Gordon is off on his own, having split the party once again, and the Minotaur is sadly hot on his trail. Gordon rounds about a corner, coming upon a dead end, a series of cardboard saws blocking his path. Leonard, off on his little side quest, finally falls into the trap that does him in. One wrong step causes a giant cardboard cut saw to come flying down, catching him right in the sternum, sawing deep into his chest cavity as cardboard blood and viscera fly everywhere. Dave the Mage turns on the record player, and the cardboard chrysalis begins to spin, and as it does, it opens up with a circular bouquet of cardboard knights which begin to animate as the cardboard construct spins. It's really beautiful, honestly, and it becomes more intricate as it spins. The wind begins again, swirling around them, whipping cardboard and paper into the air, and Dave, he takes the katana, raises it up, and swings it, cutting the heart in twain, and as he does, the maze begins to fall apart around them. Shaking, rumbling, the walls shake, the towers fall, the poor helpless origami birds fall from the sky, paper fires burn, pipes fall, the walls start coming down around them. Leonard's still super dead, but not the rest of them. Not yet. The cardboard construct falls away from around them, and as the smoke and dust settle, the party emerge from the rubble. They pull the fallen cardboard off of themselves. We see all of the survivors: Dave the Mage, Annie the Paladin, Gordon the Well-Bearded, Frank the Tank, and Harry the Poetic Knight. Harry pats Frank on the shoulder, telling him, "Good work today. Label your tapes and email me your time codes." Harry's got to be pretty happy with himself. With the cameraman dead, there's one less person that he has to pay. This movie's gonna come in on budget for sure. He gives Annie a good job, a fist bump, and instructs Gordon to notify the relatives of the deceased. He asks Dave, "What should we call it?" How about Dave made a maze? Actually, Gordon quips, "It's a labyrinth."
That may be the end of the movie, but it's not the end of the episode. Stay tuned for some fun facts about this flick. All of the cardboard used in this film was scrap cardboard. No cardboard was actually harmed during the production of this film. All of the cardboard used during production was later returned to the wild recycling bins from which they were originally sourced. The movie initially utilized scrap cardboard from an American apparel factory in LA. After over-harvesting their welcome, they were kindly asked to shove off, which they kindly did. Unable to finish the film without more cardboard, they were luckily able to find another supplier, as the Solar City graciously allowed them to scavenge their dumpsters for the remainder needed. The cardboard was again recycled in the same dumpsters that it was originally found in. The filming was reportedly quite difficult. With a small 2-room studio, the cast and crew had to always be building in one room and filming in another. There was never a chance for more than 2 rooms to be built at once, and logistically that almost never happened. Although a tremendous amount of planning had gone into the production prior to filming, complete with fully fledged storyboards and concept art, the actual dynamics of filming saw Bill Watterson stretched to his limits right from the get-go. Compromises and changes had to be made on the fly, and the finished project doesn't truly reflect the chaos of filming such a work. Post-production was no cakewalk either, as gaps in filming would only become apparent in editing and had to be fixed in post with puppets and voiceover work, something that doesn't really show in the final project. The sheer quantity of cardboard work saw almost all cast and crew picking up a razor blade and a hot glue gun. Sets would generally be constructed, shot, and torn down all within a number of hours, all to try and fight the tight filming schedule and budget. This also meant that many of the scenes in the movie were done without rehearsal. But as Alan said before, the Cardboard Institute of Technology really came through on this one, and they're due a lot of credit. Once again, the Cardboard Institute of Technology is a collective art group based out of San Francisco that works in the medium of cardboard. Notably, the Cardboard Minotaur and the Cardboard Bryn are some of their more detailed work included within the movie. But apart from that, they were also integral to much of the set creation as well, and frankly, this movie might not have happened without them. Bill Watterson, the director of the movie, is also notable for his work as a video game voice actor, having done work for God of War 3, Lost Planet 3, and L.A. Noire.
Miro Hikambani, known for playing Dave's girlfriend Annie in Dave Made a Maze, is also a College Humor alum, and she's graduated to guest roles in B-movies apparently. But she's really good, so give her more roles.
Nick Toon, who plays our titular character Dave, is also noteworthy for playing Cam Gigande's penis in Bad Johnson, which is also a bad movie. But besides from that, he's also known for playing random credited extras throughout other movies, including the Beardo at Bar in the first Venom movie that came out in 2018.
Adam Bush, our well-bearded Gordon, also stars in other bad movies. Movies like Are You Scared 2?, a cautionary tale about the dangers of geocaching. He was also a pretty regular character in Altered Carbon, the sci-fi Netflix show.
Timothy Nordwin, the actor who played Greg, our character who got impaled within the maze, is actually more notable as the bassist for the band OK Go. He's also performed for the soundtrack to Spider-Man 2 and guest starred as himself on The Simpsons.
James Urbaniak plays Dr. Venture, as well as many of the other characters on the Venture Brothers, and as well as doing voice acting in other video games. Notably, he's voiced such characters as Dr. Zero in Fallout New Vegas.
Stephanie Lynn, aka Bryn, is also another College Humor alum. She's done other work, of course, doing a few appearances on Twin Peaks, but not too much of note prior to dating College Humor.
Boom mic operator Frank the Tank, or Frank Chieti as he's normally known, has mostly worked on late-night talk shows as a boom mic operator, as well as performing on Mad TV for a short period.
Jane the Barbarian, aka Kirsten Vangsness, has been in a lot of Criminal Minds shorts, not a lot of episodes per se, but still.
Well, with the fun facts out of the way, let's get down to the Fix This Flick segment, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Fix this flick.
How would you fix this flick, Alan?
I don't know, Nohea. I mean, I feel like all the actors are really focused. They give really solid performances. So maybe if we had like Miro Hikambani just kind of staring off into space for a while. And Dave, he seems frustrated as a character, but it's very relatable. So if instead of just being frustrated, he could just have random bouts of aggression, so that he's no longer relatable and so that he's kind of antagonistic towards not only the whole cast and crew, but also the audience. And then also, a lot of the whole movie just made sense conceptually. So I feel like maybe if you spent like a good 30 minutes in the very beginning explaining how the maze is big on the inside, like the logic behind why it's big on the inside, you know? And then I feel like we could really trash this movie.
So your suggestion to fix this flick is to ruin it?
Well, I mean, it's a pretty good movie as it stands, so I feel like making it a better good movie is pretty difficult, but you could definitely make it a better bad movie.
Right.
How would you fix this flick, Nohea?
I would have leaned into the horror element a little bit. I mean, there is something inherently scary about wandering into a cardboard maze and it being bigger on the inside and it can kill you, but it would basically turn you into a cardboard masterpiece in the process. I also would have liked a digital portion of the maze that made no sense with the outside world, just to randomly explain this random CGI scene.
I think you could have leaned into the horror more, for sure. I think Miro Hikambani does a good job with her expressions, her facial expressions during some of the scene where, like, Jane's head gets cut off.
Yeah.
She seems truly shocked. Some of the other people are having more fun with it.
and openly address they're not sure whether or not it's real. So we definitely lean back from the horror in some intentional ways